What's up, Facebook? Happy Tuesday. Recovery Fitness going live. Wait for some of you guys to join in. But as always, I'd love to do a little check in once people get on here. I hope everybody is hanging in there and doing okay. Um, and also enjoying all this spring weather it feels like we've been having lately. It's been really nice. I've been enjoying it. Um, Sunshine out for the past couple of days definitely brightens my mood. Don't know about you guys, but sunshine is definitely one of my favorite things that makes me happy. So I would love to hear a quick check-in from some of you guys. Feel free to comment in the little comment box over here, or the little emoji reactions. Those are always fun. I always like seeing those pop up on the screen like bubbles. So yeah, check in with me. How have you guys been? What have you been up to? Have you gotten outside at all? What have you been doing? Fill me in. This is also my way of connecting with you guys too, so it really makes me happy to hear from you guys, and I always encourage people to comment. Hey Jake, glad you're back. So while you guys are checking in, we'll kind of get right into our reading for today. So for those of you who are just popping in right now, I see that Jake is back on here and joined. I'm still trying to figure out Facebook Live. Like I can see that 6 people are watching, but I can't see who. So if you are one of those people, give me a little check-in in the comment box. So we have been, for the month of April, reading out of a book called Tribe of Mentors, Short Life Advice from the Best in the World. And this is from author Tim Ferriss. He's a #1 New York Times best-selling author of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Some of you may have heard of that. So usually try and give a little bit of backstory on what we're reading. And so I was reading more into it today, and Tim Ferriss, back in 2017, had gotten to an unusual point in his life. He had just turned 40 and was kind of going through all these different things in his life. And, things were working out in a different way than he ever really expected. They weren't working out the way things were supposed to work out. So, as often happens at forks in the path, he says, college graduation, quarter life crisis, midlife crisis, kids leaving home, retirement, questions started to bubble to the surface. So Tim was faced with a lot of these questions, a lot of wondering. Some of his questions for himself were my goals my own, or simply what I thought I should want? How much of life had I missed from underplanning or overplanning? How could I be kinder to myself? How could I better say no to the noise to better say yes to the adventures I craved? How could I best reassess my life, my priorities, my view of the world, my place in the world, and my trajectory through the world? So many things, all the things, he says. So he goes into explaining that he was writing down all of these questions he was kind of facing at this fork in the road of his life around turning 40. And he was feeling a lot of anxiety as he was writing down these questions and feeling really overwhelmed by that. So he said he paused and he asked himself the one question that helps answer many others. What would this look like if it were easy? And this could be anything. So he's got this long laundry list of all sorts of questions. He says it's easy to convince yourself that things need to be hard, that if you're not redlining, you're not trying hard enough. And this morning is actually the first time I actually read that line. And I can definitely relate to that a lot in my life. There are tasks I'm doing or certain things in my life where if I feel like I am not pushing myself to that redlining point, to the extreme edge, then I'm not trying hard enough, right? Maybe some of you guys can relate to that. Jonathan, welcome. So for everybody who's joining in the last couple moments while I'm giving a little backstory of the book, I'm kind of asking you guys to give me a little check-in. Tell me what you've been up to. Tell me if you've been enjoying the sunshine, how you're doing. I'd love to hear from some of you guys. So anyways, Tim was talking, about that this question that he posed for himself through all these anxiety-driven questions he was faced what would it look like if it were easy? Um, so anyways, he was basically kind of wondering how he can solve a lot of his own problems and a lot of his own questions. And so he wondered, what if I assembled a tribe of mentors to help me? More specifically, what if I asked 100 plus brilliant people the very questions I want to answer for myself? Or somehow got them to guide me in the right direction? Would it work? I have no idea. But I did know one thing: if the easy approach failed, the unending labor in the salt mines approach was always waiting in the wings. Pain is never out of season if you go shopping for it. Danny's just joining in. Nice to see you again. So anyways, what he did is he started this pitch for this book, again, to help himself answer a lot of these questions and maybe get some guidance and direction in his own life. So what he did is created a set of 11 questions, and he sent this same identical set of questions out to some of the most successful, wildly varied, intelligent people well known on the planet. And he wanted them to answer 3 to 5 of his questions or more if they wanted to. So the rest of this book is all these questions that he actually had received back from all these amazing people, and they gave him a lot deeper answers than he was really expecting, which is kind of cool. So what we've been doing the past couple days is I've been going and picking one of those questions and reading one of the responses from one of the people that he inquired to, and then kind of talking about my response, and then engaging with you guys. And I'm currently asking you guys to do a quick check-in with me. Danny says good afternoon, and John says been kicking butt and taking names, the usual. How about you? Same, John. Taking names. All right. So today's question, out of the 11 questions, I picked number 5. And I'm going to write this in the chat in a moment so that you guys can participate as well. So number 5 is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? This could be an investment of money, time, energy, etc. So I'm going to take a second here and write this in the chat. So that is today's question. So as you guys are joining in, you guys can revisit that question in the chat and feel free to comment. My answer is going to be different than your answer, is going to be different than the answer of the individual that I am reading today, which is Soman Chainini. I don't know who that is, but we're going to read about this person. So yeah, feel free to answer the question in your own words. What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? And again, that can be anything. It can be time, it can be energy, money, etc. What is an investment in your life that you have made? So today's answer, again, so today's person was going to be Soman Chanani, I'm probably mispronouncing that, is a detailed planner, filmmaker, and New York Times bestselling author. Soman's debut fiction series, The School for Good and Evil, has sold more than 1 million copies, has been translated into more than 20 languages across 6 continents, and will soon be a film from Universal Pictures. A graduate of Harvard University and Columbia University's MFA film program, Soman began his career as a screenwriter and director, with his films playing at more than 150 film festivals around the world. He was recently named to the Out 100 and has received the $100,000 Sasha Grant and Sun Valley Writers Fellowship, both for debut writers. So that's a little background on Soman. And so his response to today's question, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? His response today is flying trapeze lessons. It's like shock therapy for the soul. Once you're 50 feet high, soaring on a trapeze, it's just you, your fear, and your instincts. It's the most intimate experience I've had with myself. Just one class made me realize that underneath my mind's chatter, my body has everything under control if I'm willing to take the plunge and fly. And I have kind of randomly been flipping through these and looking for some of the responses from these individuals that stood out to me. And I picked his specifically just because it's so out there, you know. Normally, you know, he gives the example of, you know, money, time, or, you know, energy. Like, where are you spending where are you spending your time? You know, what are your investments? And flying trapeze lessons is not the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know about you guys. So I just thought there was such like an out there answer. It caught my eye. And when I read more into it, I was just like, I read it again and I read it again, and I was just kind of captured by what he really says, what's underneath that. When you're 50 feet high soaring on a trapeze, it's just you, your fear, and your instincts. And my instant thought of, as I actually shared this a couple weeks ago, but this very thought of when a good friend of mine, and we went to the Warrior Factory in Rochester, and you know, they got all the obstacles from, you know, American Ninja Warrior, and her and I are jumping on this trampoline, and there's a trapeze bar up there that leads into a big foam pit. But to get to the trapeze bar, it's not over the trampoline, it's much higher and it's past it. So you have to jump from the trampoline to get to the trapeze bar. And oh my goodness, I laugh. We're able to laugh about it today, but we probably spent half an hour just goofing around, jumping on the trampoline, and then backstepping because we were afraid to let go. We were afraid to make that jump, and it was scary. There was like real fear in that. We both just kind of kept holding back, and you know, we were able to laugh at ourselves throughout the process. Eventually, we were able to just get over that fear, jump, hit the trapeze bar, and land into the foam pit. And it was great. It was definitely a rush of doing that, but I thought about that as soon as he said, like, I can't even imagine being 50 feet in the air, soaring on a trapeze. Oh my goodness, what would that feel like? You know, and he says it's just you, your fear, and your instincts, right? At that point, your body and your instincts just take over. And I love that he says just one class of flying trapeze lessons made him realize that underneath my mind's chatter, my body has everything under control if I'm willing to take the plunge and fly. And oh my goodness, I just keep thinking about that over and over, this experience I had of jumping on this trampoline and reaching up to that bar, you know. It took me a long time to just let go of that fear, to take the plunge and fly, right? And I don't know what I was so scared of, because there's a giant foam pit below you, so you're not going to get hurt. You're jumping into a foam pit, but there was still this fear, you know. I wasn't ready to take the plunge. I wasn't willing. I was letting my fears take over. And what happens when I let my fears take over, my mind gets real loud. You know, my mind is pretty loud on a daily basis anyways. I've heard a lot of friends refer to it as like the squirrels running around in your head. Like, I totally get that. My mind has a lot of chatter. But when my fears creep in, oh my goodness, my mind just goes on overdrive. I just obsess, and I pick apart the situation, and I try and think my way through it, and there has to be a solution. There has to be a reason for this. And around and around and around we go, right? It's the squirrels like on the little hamster wheel. Like, it kicks into high gear and it goes fast. You know, that's my mind. That's the way that works, and it's the way I see it. And it's just so cool to me. Like, I love that that's what he went and did for himself, is took these flying trapeze lessons and just did something that's so out there. But I love the meaning underneath it, you know, of quieting our mind, letting go, taking the plunge and flying, just jumping right into it. And he says it's the most intimate experience I've had with myself. So I just thought that was a really cool answer, and that was definitely the one I knew I wanted to share today. And I want to talk about, you know, really quickly, my investment. You know, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments that I have made. And I want to hear from some of you guys. I know we're kind of getting into the comments here, so I'm going to jump in on those in a few moments. I do want to read these. So I will definitely come back for you guys' comments, but please feel free to comment on the question today. And again, that response most certainly is going to be different than mine. It's going to be different than yours. So, you know, we all have things in our life that is meaningful to us and becomes such a personal thing, right? And, I thought about that question today. And, instantly what came to my mind, one of the best investments I've ever made, is honestly my fitness and getting active. Um, and again, this is just my own experience. I don't say any of these things to brag. But it really comes from a place of realizing how much energy and time I've put into taking care of my body and my fitness, and I've been able to just reap so many benefits from it. And it's just something that I just truly enjoy and get so much happiness and fulfillment out of today in my life. And so that's my investment that I want to share about. And I won't go into it too much. I really never played sports when I was in high school or anything. I played soccer and t-ball when I was pretty young, but other than that, being fit and active wasn't like a huge thing in my life. And before I came into my own recovery a couple years ago, I would kind of go to the gym and work out here and there, but it was never anything that I was really dedicated to or spent time or an investment on. It wasn't something that I really felt a lot of passion for, to be honest. And maybe some of you out there can relate to this too, but I think about when I first kind of came into recovery. I was just like the rest of us, we all come into recovery struggling, and it's not easy, and most of us wonder how we're going to spend all that downtime. And I was very stuck. I was very resentful coming into recovery at such a young age. I was just before I turned 27. I thought that I was just going to be bored for the rest of my life. How am I going to go do this thing? How am I going to go to do this thing without, drinking or using drugs? And that was just something that really stuck with me for a long time. And because of that, I stayed very resentful. I didn't know how to fill my downtime. And the biggest thing was I didn't know that people could have fun in recovery. I didn't even know recovery was a thing until I got into it. And I had this realization and awareness that, oh my goodness, there's this whole other life out there of people doing things sober. I didn't have that awareness. I didn't know it was a thing. But I was very hesitant, I was like, what is there to do? What could there possibly be to do? Eventually, it took some time, but eventually I was introduced to recovery, and, I hadn't heard of anything like that before. And it took me a while to get there, to get my foot in the door, but eventually I did. I started going to some of the workouts when they used to do them in Highland Park. And eventually I decided to come to this crazy 6 a.m. class that Yana and Sean, a couple of the co-founders, were teaching every week, every Wednesday. And I just started going. I remember it was February, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go every Wednesday. That's going to be my little goal, my little challenge for myself. And I'm just going to stick this out every Wednesday and try it. And, first and foremost, I was welcomed with open arms. And, instead of being dragged through a workout, I had people that were willing to take the time to show me what to do, proper technique. And people were laughing through the workout, and the dogs were there running around. And, I walked away from those first couple of workouts, first of all, completely exhausted and, pushing myself to my physical limits, which I hadn't done before. I hadn't really been tested to that. But I had fun, right? And I just didn't know that existed. And somehow that just lit this fire underneath me and inside me. And I wanted more of it. Fast forward to a year and a half, whatever, how long I've been coming to recovery, fast forward to all this time later. And that has just that was just a catalyst in my story of this turning point where fitness really became something of importance to me. I started going to more workouts. I started caring about what I was eating and putting into my body. I think about all the years in the past, all the garbage that I would put into my body, add on drugs and alcohol and nicotine, things that were not good for my health. So I started paying attention to that stuff. I started caring about myself again, and slowly but surely over time that caring and that want to be bigger, better, faster, stronger just grew and grew and grew, and it's still there today. I've really pushed myself past physical limits that I didn't know were there. I didn't know I was capable of. And again, I don't say these things to brag, but it's more of my testimony and my story and my own change and my own growth that, I feel like I can be proud of today. I do feel like physically I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in. I'm able to get up and just do things that I've never done before. I've started running recently, and John will call me out right now. I'm sure I've definitely been slacking lately as much as quarantine has kicked in. But I started doing things along those lines. Like I completed my first Spartan race a month or so ago. Like things I would just have never ever thought could be a part of my life. I didn't think that I could do these things. I didn't know my body was capable of that. And the more of these investments that I've made of my time and my energy and my fitness, the greater I feel on the inside, and that most certainly helps my mental health. I don't even know, so many studies out there linking physical activity to mental health. And a lot of you guys can attest to that. A lot of you who do come to the workouts and who do come to the center during open gym hours and who come to the hikes and the trips that we take, anything that we do, getting up and getting active and getting outdoors and just connecting with each other, there's such power behind that. And that's the whole premise of rock recovery, that how this little hope and that want of getting up and being outside just grew to what it is today, 5 some odd years later of where rock recovery is today. And it is really hard not being there right now with my people and doing the workouts. I very much miss that. I'm fortunate to be able to continue up and keep up with my fitness during these really challenging times right now. And that's why I'm always encouraging you guys to get out, go ride your bike. When's the last time you pulled your bike out of the shed? Go for a bike ride, go for a walk, just get outside and get active. I know I always push that a little bit, but there's just something so rewarding, especially when the sun is out and it's beautiful. There's something so rewarding about just being out and breathing that fresh air and just leaving all this mind, all this chatter, all the squirrels, leaving that inside. And I can step outside for a little bit and just move around. And it just feels great. That has just been one of the best investments that I have ever made is, focusing on my fitness. And I feel great. I do. It's really helped me to grow mentally as well. I've pushed past so many physical limitations that I thought I have, because so much of those limitations are up here, right? So much of it is a big mental battle. So many things in life are a mental battle. Everything we're all going through right now is a huge mental battle, right? We're quarantined, we're at home, we're isolating, you're with your kids 24/7, you're either working or not working from home, we're all being pushed we're all being pushed to a lot of our physical and mental limitations right now. It is very challenging for all of us, absolutely. But it's like, what can we, I'm always encouraging you guys to get creative. Like, what can you do to get through these times? And if your physical fitness is something that you do have the capability to do, even just to get up and walk, if you do have that luxury, do you take advantage of it? Or is it something you take for granted? But it has just introduced me to so many amazing people, to so many amazing events, things like races, even Rock Recovery's 5K race last year was the first 5K I did, and I had an absolute blast. It's just opened up this whole other world for me. And I get to train in different ways and just continue to build and to grow physically, but also mentally too. So that is definitely my biggest investment that I've made in my life. So enough about me. I do want to get to your guys' comments on here. So Jake is checking in. Good afternoon, everyone. A little more than a week out of rehab now. Been a struggle. Transition has been rough since the plan I made wasn't one of quarantining. Absolutely. Just rolling with the punches. Accept the things I cannot change. Absolutely. Jake, thank you so much for your vulnerability and your honesty, for sharing that. And you've been out of a little more than a week out of rehab. Congratulations. And it is a rough transition. You're right. I feel for you. I feel for everybody out there who's in that situation. You're right. Quarantining and COVID was not a plan for any of us, right? It's completely thrown a wrench into the life game right now. So we're all learning how to roll with the punches. And Jake, thank you for saying that. Accept the things I cannot change. I say that little serenity prayer every morning, multiple times a day sometimes, because right, we talk about this frequently. There are so many things outside of all of our control right now, things we cannot change. And accepting that, right? Why spend all my time and my energy trying to control something that I have no control over, that I can't change? Why waste the time and energy and put my investment there? Why don't I put my time and my energy and investment into something I can control, right? Let's see what can come out of that. So thank you for sharing that, Jake. Glad you're back on here. Excuse me. Danny says, best investment I made has been in my quality of relationships. Awesome. Yeah. And that's, I can totally relate to that. You know, that is one of the gifts I've gotten in my own recovery and my own sobriety, has been able to rebuild certain relationships in my life, and to embark on new ones, new friendships, new people in recovery. You know, I've been able to build brand new ones, and the quality has drastically improved. It's been great. That's awesome, Danny. Karen's on here. Hi, Karen. John says, Jake, congratulations. That's awesome. If you want any support, give us a shout. 585-622-4975. Recovery Fitness Peer Recovery Support Program. Someone will reach out and connect with you in any way you need to support you in your recovery. We also have our mailing address on here. So yes, we are still continuing our peer services at Recovery Fitness, to reach out, to connect with you guys, to support you in any way that we can. And if there's something, you know, that is out of our reach, you know, we'll help get you connected to the right people who can help you. But we're here for you. You know, we're here to walk alongside you guys in your own recovery journey. This isn't easy for any of us, especially, you know, being in a position like that right now, transitioning out of rehab. And it's a very challenging and trying spot to be in, especially with this whole pandemic going on. That's a tough spot. So if any of you are needing or wanting our peer services, or maybe have someone else in your life that you know that could benefit them, please reach out. Again, our phone number on here is 585-622-4975. You guys can also send us an email. The address is up in the comments here. It's mail@rockcoveryfitness.org. So please reach out if you guys want to connect with us, even just to talk. Christopher's on here. What's up, Chris? So John says, best investment, I can't talk today. Best investment this week, Amazon purchase, a new book and a guitar cable to connect to an amplifier. Total $24. Hours of distractions and entertainment. I love that. And that's what I love about this discussion today, right? All of our investments look different, whether it's in relationships, you know, investing in our fitness. John's investing in a new book and you know, a guitar cable to connect his amplifier. That's awesome. I love seeing what's important to everyone. And that's the cool thing about seeing everyone's different responses, right? Because we all are unique in our own ways, and we all have our own things that are important and matter to us, and it's just so cool to see the variety of it. I love it. Karen says, best investment for me is my massage and Reiki training. It helped me connect to my spirituality. That is awesome. Very cool, Karen. Nikki says, I love this conversation today. For me, this makes me realize that once I decided to invest in myself as a whole, health-wise, spiritually, mentally, socially, and physically, my life attracts great things. This gives me so many activities and people to invest in on a daily basis. I love that. Investing in ourselves, right? And that can look different for all of us, you know, spiritually, mentally, socially, physically. Our health, our fitness, you know, things that we enjoy, hobbies we enjoy, playing guitar, playing different instruments, reading. We're investing in our minds and our knowledge and growing and learning, right? There's just so many different ways and directions that we can invest in ourselves. That's so great, Nikki. You're right. And once we decide to take the time to truly invest in that, man, things start to change. You know, we start to reap those benefits. We meet new people. We have new experiences in life. So what are you guys investing in today? You know, that's my take home challenge for you guys today, is to sit down, make a little list for yourself. It can be a list of something you've already invested in, Maybe it's something you've just recently started to invest in and you want to figure out how you can continue to grow that investment. Or maybe it's something you're curious about investing in that you haven't dabbled in before. Whether it's like our reader today, investing in flying trapeze lessons. Like, hey, if that's your excitement, go for it. Do it up. I commend you. The trampoline experience was a little scary for me, so I'm gonna hold off on the trapeze lessons. But what are some things you guys want to invest in that you haven't even tapped into yet? These are great responses, guys. I'd love to hear it. Jake says, best investment for me has been investing my faith in the 12-step program. For the longest time, I've tried to do recovery on my own. Since I've truly accepted help from others and just got brutally honest, I've had this peace just overwhelm me. It's been a spiritual experience, and it's had a domino effect in so many areas of my life. I no longer feel like I have to control everything in my life. Give life my best and accept reality after that. Oh, that makes me super happy to hear. It's our happy emotions coming out, sorry. I love that. It is. I think we talked about this a few days ago, but for so many of us, it is really hard to accept help from others, and it's hard for us to be brutally honest with ourselves. For so long, at least I have lived in chaos and nonsense and putting myself in dangerous situations for a very long time. There is no peace and serenity in that. I have not found 1 ounce of peace and serenity in my old life. But yeah, I mean, investing in myself today and, my own faith and a 12-step program, I love that you're spending time doing that, Jake. I can very much relate to a lot of those things, and it has been a spiritual experience, and it has had a domino effect in so many areas of life. I love that you're honest and vulnerable and sharing right now. I so very much appreciate that, and I'm sure other people on here do as well. And that's such a release, right? It's such a relief. I no longer feel like I have to control everything in my life. I love that. Because once we let go of that, oftentimes we're trying to, do this and do that and do this and just control everything. And there's, we got to fix this thing over here and fix this here and do this thing ourselves because we don't want to ask for help. And it's a lot of chaos. It's exhausting, right? But we don't have to control everything in our lives. The last book we're reading is all about inviting that divine order and that universal spirit in and letting go. Letting something else guide us, I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I don't. And it's really hard to let go of that some days. But once I let go of that control, there is that domino effect. And it just feels so much lighter and it feels so much better. Thank you, Jake, for sharing that. Brian Quinn's on here. Hi, Brian. Good stuff today, guys. Really good stuff. Sorry, I'm just kind of soaking it all in. And, this is great for me too. Like I always share, like I love being able to be on here and connect with you guys. But I love hearing your responses and seeing what's important to you. Today was great. I love seeing the things that people are investing in. What I'm really reading is that you guys are wanting to invest in yourselves, no matter what it is, whether it's a hobby, whether it's running, whether you're focusing on, things that you enjoy, like massage and Reiki, whether you're training for something, training for anything. If you think about it as a whole, those are all investments of self, right? Absolutely. Nikki says, as hard as it is to not feel in control all the time, what a weight that's lifted when I can just hand it over to my higher power. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much that is out of our control right now. And when we try to put all the burdens of the world and of other people on our own shoulders, that gets real heavy. It does. And it's exhausting. And by doing that, we're setting this really high expectation for ourselves that we can't possibly meet. We're human. We can't please everybody and we can't take care of everybody, But what we can do is take care of ourselves. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. I need to invest in me and take the best possible care of myself that I can on a daily basis so that I remain okay and so that I'm able to turn around and help others, if I have so much stuff going on here, and I'm not spiritually fit for the day, if I'm not mentally fit for the day, if I'm all over the place with my emotions and full of anxiety and a bundle of nerves and got this, that, and the third going on all at once, like, I'm no good to anybody. I can't be of maximum service to other people, and I have all this stuff going on in here, and I'm not feeling spiritually fit that day. So it is just so important to take that self-care. We talk about it all the time on here, is do the best you can to take care of yourselves, you know, so that you can turn around and take care of your family, your parents, your siblings, your loved ones, your children, your little fur babies, you know, your dogs and your cats, you know, and then we can turn around and be there for our neighbors and for, you know, our fellow people that are in recovery, you know, so we can just be there for each other. But that has to start with us. It has to start we have to start taking care of that within first. This is an inside job, as a lot of people say in recovery. It's an inside job, right? I've got to work on what's going on in here first before I can help anybody else. So I'm definitely running a little bit over today, but that's okay. I mean, you guys are just putting so much positivity and so many great things in here today. Jake, congratulations again. And again, for anybody who is wanting to reach out, if you need somebody, please don't hesitate. We are here. You can check the Recovery Fitness Facebook page for information on the phone number to reach out to get you hooked up with peer support services. There's also the email on there. We'd love to hear from you guys. So we're here every day. So I'm hoping that you guys can tune in again tomorrow for another reading with me. And I also encourage you to stay tuned to our Recovery Fitness Facebook page. We've got all sorts of awesome virtual videos going on every single day. Brian Quinn's got his meditation every day. Kirsten's doing a book reading. Shortly, in about 20 minutes or so here, Lisa's going to be doing an at-home workout with you guys for you to keep up on your own fitness, if that is something that you're investing in as well. And then Yana will be on later this evening giving some words of encouragement. And I just continue to encourage you guys to stay active, stay connected with us through these videos. We enjoy being on here just as much as some of you do who are consistently showing up for these. So if you have friends and family you want to share these videos with, the videos do save. You can go back and watch them on our Facebook page. You can also go to rockcoveryfitness.org to check those out. All the videos on there as well, too, in case you miss any and you'd like to go back and watch them. But please share this with friends and family and get this out there to the community. You know, we're here to connect with you guys, and you know, a lot of us have more downtime than we're used to, so fill your downtime with us. We'd love to see you guys, seriously, though. So I hope everyone has an awesome day. I hope you guys can enjoy that sunshine again today. Gary is sending hearts. I love it. If I could figure out how to send hearts back on here, I would. So hearts to you guys. Yeah, and continue to tune in. We will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.